So now it's time to take the masking off. You see, I put the shadow on while the masking was still on, but now it's time to take it off. So here we go. So clean finger, and just knock, a sort of knocking action to take it off, rather than that sort of rubbing action. You don't want to do that. That causes trouble. Find the edge of the masking fluid and work it away gradually, like that. Wonderful. No problems there. Good. So now we can paint these stamens. What I'm going to do is put a layer of yellow, watery yellow, on them first. I've got a colour mixed up that will be the purple ends of the stamens, very characteristic of this flower. So first of all, some very watery yellow, probably over the whole area, including the stamens that are separate at the sides. So I'm just going to paint that along those. Then I'll be able to put the colour, the pink, in wet, starting from the top of the, well, starting from the bottom here. No, not starting from the bottom here, having looked at my reference. Let's start from the top of these stamens. Because they've got wet paint on, the pink colour is sort of going to run loosely down the stamens, because they're not red right at the bottom, they're only red on the tips. So this is the way to do that. Okay, now introduce some of that colour into the middle. I'm going to have to do this in more than one stage. This is the first stage where I'm putting the colour in wet, and I'll have to come back when it's dry and go into more detail, because in amongst the stamens, they're all bunched up, and there are some dark areas in there, a good chance for some more negative painting in there. Going to add a little bit of alizarin crimson actually to this colour mix, and a bit of burnt sienna to make it darker, and a bit of ultramarine as well. It's still a little bit wet, and I'm putting some more right on the tips, more colour. Dropping a bit more colour in the middle as well. Okay, that's coming to life a bit now. While that's drying, I'll put a bit more detail on the leaves. So using the green mix, which is quite varied in the palette, so I can dip into different areas of it for variety. Okay. I've got an opportunity on this leaf to show to sort of identify it as a clematis leaf. So I'm going to sort of paint negatively between the veins. You only have to put this sort of detail in 1 or 2 leaves for people to think when they see the leaves, oh right, clematis leaves, you know, and you just need to hint at that, and that's sufficient. Don't tell all the story. You don't need to tell all the story. Do the same with this one here. I've just wet an area there, and I'm going to lay in some colour, draw out 1 or 2 veins, and then here lay some colour in where I put the water. And then blend that out to make it look as though the veins are standing out. Halfway through a painting, although this is a bit more than halfway through, you tend to lose faith a little bit and think, oh, is this working? Well, if you do this, if you get a mount and put it over your painting, it sort of gives you hope, because somehow you can see more of the finished effect, and also you see the relationship between the details in the painting and the edges, and that's very important. You know, that bit of light there, you suddenly see it because you've put this mount around it. So I keep several mounts like this so that I can do this through halfway through a painting.